66 million years ago, two forces collided. The real story was never told. The Primordials. They were not here to fight, not yet. They were here to learn everything about this world before deciding what to do with it. And what they were learning was that this world was far more complicated than any they had encountered before. The survey had been underway since the first light of dawn. 12 teams, 12 sections of territory, all reporting back to the ships simultaneously. They mapped the soil composition, the atmospheric pressure, the water salinity of the Amber Sea. They measured the volcanic activity at the Ashen Peaks from a distance carefully. They did not yet enter the Great Forest. Something in their readings told them to wait. The Great Forest was a problem, not because of what their instruments could read, because of what they couldn't. Every other terrain on this world had yielded clean, processable data. The forest gave them noise, fluctuations that matched no known pattern, energy signatures that appeared and disappeared without cause. In their entire history of surveying worlds, they had never encountered a place that resisted being measured. Soren had positioned his watchers before the scouts had finished their first sweep. Every team had a shadow. They did not know they were being followed. They did not know that for every reading their instruments took of this world was taking a reading of them. Dravon watched them touch the Amber Sea, watched them lower their instruments into water that had existed for longer than anything they had ever built. The red markings along his spine burned without releasing. He had never held himself still when everything in him demanded otherwise. He held now, because Soren had said, "Not yet," and because for once he understood why. Back at the ships, the picture was forming. Rich mineral deposits beneath the northern plains. The Amber Sea, shallow, warm, full of resources they had harvested from a dozen other worlds. Atmospheric composition, compatible. Temperature range, manageable. Biological diversity, significant but not unprecedented. And one flag, one unresolved anomaly. The Great Forest. Unknown energy signature. Resist measurement. Priority, investigate. At the Ashen Peaks, Eldros listened to the Earth's distress. Not panic, the Earth did not panic. But something older than panic. A recognition. Foreign instruments touching its soil for the first time. Measuring, calculating, deciding its worth. Eldros had felt something like this before, not in his own memory, but in the memory of the stone beneath him. He knew what came after the survey. He had always known. Eldros opened his eyes. He had made a decision which was unusual. Eldros rarely decided things. He observed. He waited. He knew. But this required action, not movement, not confrontation. A warning, sent the only way he knew how, through the earth itself, through the roots of the Great Forest, through the trembling of the Ashen Peaks, to Soren, to Dravon. A single clear message. I know what this is. Come to me. Soren felt Eldros's message before he understood it. A pressure, a weight, an urgency that had no words but needed none. He moved. Behind him, Dravon felt it too, in the ground beneath his feet, in the trembling that was not his own. For once, Dravon did not need to be told where to go. He already knew. The oldest among them was calling, and when Eldros called, Everything else waited. Eldros spoke for a long time, longer than he had spoken in memory. He told them what he had felt in the Earth's memory. Other worlds, other surveys, other species who had stood where they now stood and watched strangers measure their home. He told them what had come after the surveys. He did not soften it. Soren listened without moving. Dravon listened without speaking, which, for Dravon, was the most difficult thing he had ever done. When Eldros finished, the silence lasted a long time. Then Soren asked the only question that mattered: how long do we have? Eldros considered the question. He had known the answer before they arrived. He hadn't known it before the lights appeared in the sky. Perhaps he had always known it, carried it the way old things carry the weight of what they cannot change. Not long, he said. Then we use what we have, Soren replied. Dravon said nothing. He was already thinking about what came next. By late afternoon, the scouts had returned to their ships. The survey was complete. The northern plains were quiet again. The same plains, the same soil, the same ancient grass. But something had changed that could not be unchanged. This world had been measured. Its worth had been calculated. And somewhere in those ships, a decision was being made. In the lead ship, Vaeron looked at the survey results. Rich world, compatible atmosphere, significant resources, standard acquisition candidate. But Vaeron did not look at the data. Vaeron looked at the sky, at the colors of a sunset that no instrument had been designed to measure. For the first time in a very long time, Vaeron paused. The survey was done, the data was clear. The next step had always been the same: about every world, in every system, across every century of the Empire's expansion. It had never been a question. Until now, it had never needed to be. But Vaeron was still looking at the sunset, and an empire that never pauses had just paused. Episode 4, First Contact.